as we go through the Bible, and again, character development for Jasmine is we're seeing who God is.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't change, but at the same time, he is, what's the word, multifaceted. Like there's so many different ways that we can view God and know God, but at the end of the day, he's the same God no matter which story you read. And that's a difficult concept for people to grasp, because the same God that's like destroy all these people is the same God that might say let him slide this time.
Right.
And all of it is still, he's still just in all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Good. Very good point. Very good point. What is going on, XYZers, XYZ Nation?
What's up?
MVPs and 1, 2, 3.
No.
Yeah.
What did we call it? It was MVPs and
Is it OGs?
I feel like it was
OGs and MVPs.
Yes, that's better.
Woo, you can tell we had a break.
Yeah, I'll say we're out of practice.
But we are before you once again, starting up on season 3. We've been at this for 2 years and starting number 3. Well, yeah, it's been 2 years, even though the seasons don't line up that way. But hey, it is what it is. Season 3. I'm excited. You all excited?
I'm excited. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh man, so this is our intro episode. What are we supposed to do? Oh, we are supposed to introduce ourselves. So I am the latchkeyed one himself, the former X-Man, repping Gen X, Chris, all up in the area. Yeah. All right, let's get it. And next to me, we have...
I am Maya, the resident millennial. And next to me is...
The Microwaver. I'm Jasmine, and together we are...
Generational Scriptures. All right, Jasmine. Last year, you were like, I need a sound effect.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can't get a sound effect if you don't give us some space to put the sound effect in.
You told me that last time too. Because I'm not used to having anything behind my name.
Okay, so
we'll practice
go ahead.
That another
do it
okay,
again.
ready? All right. I'm the Microwaver, Jasmine.
Yeah.
I like it. And then together we are
Generational Scriptures.
Okay, I like that.
All right, you like that?
I like that.
All right, cool. Y'all like our fancy high-tech sound effects? And the button is like us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, put a little soundtrack in the background.
Yeah, that would be cool. And expensive, so probably won't do it.
Would it? I'll look into it.
Okay.
I feel like they have something on. I'll look into it.
Okay, cool. Oh, man. So let's get into our intro. So this year we are going through the first 11 chapters. Don't get too excited. Just the first 11. Because what we went through 34 through 50? 37 through 50 when we looked at Joseph. So now we're sort of going backwards. We're going to go back to the beginning and go Genesis 1 through 11. And then we'll probably, right, unless, we get led in a different direction, probably pick up from 12 and go through maybe, I think it's probably about 24-ish or something like that before we start to get into Jacob and Isaac and what they have going on. So we'll break this up into segments. So we're going through Genesis 1 through 11 this week, and I got some questions, and I'm trying to find them.
While you're looking
now
for
that I do,
I was going to say that we decided to go back to Genesis 1 because we referred to it a lot.
We do.
And without the context, it's hard to guide the conversation. So for like you, Jasmine, you're like, you guys are always bringing things up that I don't know about. I'm like, maybe we should just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
And I think it wasn't bad that we did it the way we did it, because I think the stories were a lot more digestible in those first 2 seasons. And now we're going to go back and jump into some real, okay, how do we get here?
How do we get here? Yeah, and so I'm glad that you suggested it because it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
That I think we're going to end our next endeavor.
Yeah. And I don't know if this means that we're going to continue going in order, because we could just go like chronologically and that'll take us probably 10 years to get through, or we could jump around. But I think as we go through this, we can then make a decision. Yeah.
Before we move into season 3 formally, anything about season 2 that anyone wants to bring up? Any memories, any call outs? I know for me, it's character development that Jasmine brought up that we saw in Ruth, but didn't see in Jonah. It's the dichotomy, the differences in the stories of Ruth versus Jonah, and how they actually show different aspects of people. I want to say working with God, but different aspects of agents of God, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jonah being an agent, having one attitude, one mindset, and Ruth and Naomi and Boaz being an agent of God and having a completely different mindset and attitude.
Yeah. And something I didn't think about till you said that is the fact that Jonah is a leader, right?
Yep.
So we sometimes place these leaders on these pedestals and ignore the regular people in the world that are doing regular things,
right?
But also still doing the work of God or still showing the character of God through the way that they're living.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think as we go through the Bible, and again, character development for Jasmine is we're seeing who God is.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't change, but at the same time, he is, what's the word, multifaceted. Like there's so many different ways that we can view God and know God, but at the end of the day, he's the same God no matter which story you read. Yep. And that's a difficult concept for people to grasp, because the same God that's like destroy all these people is the same God that might say, let him slide this time.
Right. Yeah.
And all of it is he's still just in all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Very good point. Very good point. Do you have anything, Jasmine? Or are you good?
I was going to say my girl Ruth, I really loved that story, and it was really easy for me to understand and digest. So that, like, it just left a really good taste in my mouth as far as like my growth as we learn and as we go through our seasons. Jonah was like a really interesting, like I knew it from Bible school, but it just was interesting because I feel like I see I'm a Jonah sometimes. I see Jonahs in the world, and it just was like a really easy story to relate to life. And I think sometimes in the Bible, I mean, like all the stories relate in different ways, but to see, like, that's one that I felt like people could take that and say, okay, like, look at your life. Are you a Jonah? Are you trying to run from God? Like, are you being obedient? Is he asking you to do things and you're just deliberately disobeying? Granted, like, we do that. We're humans, we sin. But I enjoyed the past 2 books that we went through thoroughly. And it gave me confidence. Because I feel like now as we move forward, I'm understanding bit by bit, a little more. Cool. And now I have something in my back pocket because we're going through, we're going to start at Genesis 1. So
yeah. It's interesting that you are like, I'm a Jonah now, because Jasmine.
I know.
Jasmine was throwing shade at Jonah in the beginning.
As I should, he was really throwing me. I'm telling you, that was like, learning the details of that story had me so like, what? But I had to do some self-reflection. I'm a Jonah too.
I hope everybody does that self-reflection.
Yeah. And I was about to say, because I think you were the first to be like, am I Jonah?
I know. Yeah.
And then I was
chapter 1, I was like, listen,
and then I was like, maybe I'm Jonah too.
I know. And I didn't realize, I didn't come to that to the very end. I was trying to hold out like, oh no, I would not be deliberately disobedient. Oh my gosh, not running from God. Are you crazy?
That's right. Because Jasmine was like, if the Lord told me to lick the floor, I was like, oh no. Just like, I would do it. I was like, hopefully he don't tell you to do that, but man.
Yeah, right.
But
so there's growth within us as well, and I think that's good to see.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be, right? We don't read and study just for the worldwide interwebs and all of our hundreds and thousands of people watching. You laugh. You make it sound like they can't believe me.
I mean, it could be true one day.
It could be true. Yeah.
But it should have an impact on us as well. And it sounds like it is, and I'm glad. All right. So, turning the page from season 2 to season 3, as we go through Genesis, a couple of questions. What are you looking forward to as we go through the chapters?
I'm looking forward to myths being debunked.
Okay.
And I say that because even of course, I've read so far, so I know some things already. And I just was so amazed at how the story can be twisted, misconstrued as it's spoken, the saints in church will tell you all about Adam and Eve and, the Garden of Eden and the fruit or the apple, you hear all this different stuff. And then even down to God's creation in the 7 days, there's so many interpretations of that story. But then when you read, you really read, and I listened to it 3 times in 3 different versions. And I was like, oh my goodness, that wasn't true at all. Or, oh, they got it a little wrong. He made this verse, not this. Or it just, there's so many things I already have learned that was not. And I was talking to my husband, he was like, you are reading this you've never heard this story. We've learned this all our life. Yeah, because I didn't know it correctly. Now I'm just really looking forward to knowing it for real this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I've only gone through chapter 1, but I also was talking to my husband. I'm like, did you ever hear this? And I was stuck on verse 1 and 2 for a whole night. And I'm going back and forth with him people are saying this about 1 and 2.
Right.
And he's like, I never heard that. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a good thing to dig too deep or not, because now I'm in this what is it, rabbit hole of all the possible theories for just 2 verses in the beginning of the Bible.
Right.
So I can get why people get confused and thrown off, which is why I also feel like it was a good thing we didn't start here, right? Because it would have been are we throwing people off jump? Are we just listen, the Bible is this. And I don't know how chapter 1, when we go through it, is going to go, but it is interesting. And I feel like you do need a solid foundation. And I also will say, do not just take our word for it. Do your own study.
Yeah.
Do your own reading, do your own researching, all of that, because we are not claiming to be experts. And we do pray at the beginning that we are handling the text correctly. But at the end of the day, we are people. Yeah. So don't be like Maya and Chris and Jasmine said, we are not professionals. No, only person with some sort of credentials is Chris.
Yeah.
And even he, go back to Ruth. He was tripping.
Oh, we calling people out.
I'm just saying.
We're not.
Exactly. They know. But I'm just saying there are different ways that things can be viewed, and it's a good thing to talk about it. But at the end of the day, the main point should be the main point.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. And if there's anyone who doesn't reiterate what Moyo just said, study for yourself. Be like a good Berean, as Paul would say. I would definitely have to question their motives. Because the point is for you to know, not just for you to be told from someone else what's true or what isn't. The scriptures have been made available to all of us.
Yep.
And all of us can go and read it. So, cool. What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to going through Genesis 1 just to continue to grow and learn and make those connections. I think I'm to a point now where I'm looking for the how do you say, the connections, the cohesiveness in Scripture. Oh, Genesis, this is mentioned here, but in Revelation, I can see sort of the deconstruction that's happening, that where Genesis chapter 1, I'm seeing the construction. So I'm trying to sort of go through it, obviously learn as we go through, but also start to try and make those connections with other areas of the Bible that I know. All right. What are some parts that of Genesis chapters 1 through 11, or things that you may have heard about Genesis that you can bring up?
I go through? So what I did when I was just looking at 1 through 11 is I took the titles, or like the main topics of each chapter, and wrote them down. Can I go through that real quick? Definitely. Okay, so chapter 1 is about creation. Okay. Chapter 2 talks about God's rest and the creation of man and woman. Chapter 3 is the fall. Chapter 4, Cain and Abel. Yep. Chapter 5, Adam to Noah. So I'm thinking that's one of the genealogy chapters. Okay. Chapter 6, corruption on earth, Noah and the flood. Yes. Then chapter 7 is still the flood. Yep. Chapter 8, the flood subsides. Chapter 9, they get off the boat, and then they talk about Noah's descendants. Chapter 10, nations descended from Noah. So another genealogy. And then 11 is the Tower of Babel. And then they give us Shem's descendants and Terah's descendants. Yep. And yeah, so that's what we're going through. And I think the thing I'm looking forward to is Noah's story, because it's a story. So it goes back to like how we were doing things before. Yeah. I mean, Cain and Abel too, but Cain and Abel is another one of those, like, it's giving Jonah. It's giving Jonah.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. So I mean, that will be interesting as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anything that those titles interest you, Jasmine?
Honestly, like, so I watched a really good video, and I think you talked about it before, the Bible Project. I love that YouTube. Oh my God. And I was looking at like the part 1 and part 2 of Genesis, like 1 to 11, and then 12 to 24, I think.
Something like that.
And in the 1 to 11, the part that really sticks out to me, like they went through all of those. Yeah. Like all the different pieces. I'm telling you, creation has me stuck. It has me stuck because it's so many theories out there that is like, I'm telling you, debunk. Like we're gonna go through it, and it's gonna make sense why I'm saying that. But I am amazed. Like that is it has me stuck. Yeah, creation is gonna really be the one for me, and I have so many thoughts. That's gonna be a long episode.
I want to hear the thoughts.
I do too.
Yes.
You can't check out after creation, right?
I won't. But that one
that's where
so exciting to me. Yeah.
And I can see why, because it's a big topic, and there's a lot of discussion that goes on around it now, and a lot of things that we're still finding out, even in science and astronomy and things. Yes, exactly. Like the whole redshift thing that was brought up maybe a couple years ago, that shows the expansion of the universe and things of that nature. So creation is huge. It's one of those questions that I think, those existential questions that we all ask ourselves, like where did I come from? Right?
Yeah. And I think it also really, really, really depends, like your understanding, and it really depends on your willingness to let go of your natural view of the world. And that's not something that's easy for people, because we are very like, we want scientific explanation, and we need definitive answers, and we need somebody to write it down with a PhD and have it peer reviewed, you know? So it challenges that in you, and you just have to accept it. So it's, I don't know, it's like, it challenged it in me, because I'm very like, show me the science.
You're empirical.
Show me the evidence. I need some evidence and proof to back up what you're saying. But I even told my husband, because we had a back and forth about creation. And I was like, you have to, it's understandable as like people, the fleshly, like us as flesh, for you to question things that don't seem natural. But you also have to be open to the supernatural. God is not something you could put in a box and say, like, yeah, he follows these parameters. No, that's just not the case. And I think that we see that so many times in the first 2 chapters of the Bible. And you just have to be open-minded. So if I had to say anything to, especially the Gen Zers, me, my people.
Do you want to be part of us? Come on.
No.
She does, real bad.
I say it all the time. No. You guys have to come into this with a very open mind. And I will give you I'm going to give you some science. Don't worry. I'm going to give you some science. I'm going to overlay those things very well for you.
I'm really excited about this.
The gauntlet has been laid out.
I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you do your own research, of course, but we're going to get into it so that we can try to work through this together.
Man.
I'm very excited, y'all.
Okay. I need a minute. But you bring up a good point, because a lot of people think that science is opposed to scripture. And in reality, they work in tandem. Now, the point that you brought up that I love is the fact that the one who set all the laws in motion, the one who set all the constants of the universe, can also go in and break those constants whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
And if everything happened according to the constants, then it wouldn't be a miracle, right? Exactly. So when we're reading, we have to keep that type of stuff in mind. Cool. Jasmine's excited.
I am.
I'm scared. Nah, I'm good. The hard parts of the titles, the ones that I like, the ones that I want to and like to dig into the most is creation 1. But then chapter 6 and chapter 5 with Noah and the flood, and even down to chapter 9, because I think it gives this indication of who man really is. When we get there and we read through it, I think we'll see who are we really, right? And then the question becomes, if that's really me, then how does it get addressed if I don't want to be that way, right? So I'm excited for that. Oh, and I guess I want all of it. And chapter 3. Chapter 3, the fall and all that happens there. As you mentioned, I think you called it the corruption or something.
I called it the fall.
Oh, okay, the fall. Yeah. No, the corruption.
No, the corruption was for Noah's time.
Yeah. So the fall. That's, I don't want to say one of my favorites, but it's one of the most another introspective area in these first 11 chapters of Genesis. So if Jasmine's character development, introspection, I think. I don't know. Right. You all tell me, but that's what I feel like sometimes. I think one other question, important, setting the Lord apart from other creation narratives. And I think that's just more of a statement, right? I think one of the reasons that that Moses put this down and penned this, one, is because the Lord told him to. But 2, I think there is a need to set the Lord apart and how much greater he is than all of these false deities that others in the ancient Near East had set up. Because there are a bunch of people around when Moses is writing this, and a bunch of people around that have their own ideologies and their own, dare I call them, theologies about who God is, and God being in the sun, or God being in the moon, or God being in the waters, and things of that nature, and having a God for each of these, when the Genesis narrative is really, I think, setting up God as being one of a kind that is greater than anything else that we see out here in the universe. And so we are to approach him like that and to put all these other false. All right. Final thoughts before we get ready to jump in.
I feel like we said a lot already.
I do. I feel like we're excited to get ready to go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, folks. With that said, we're going to sign off for the intro episode. Hang out with us for the rest of the season as we go through Genesis 1 through 11. Oh, I'm supposed to say stuff like subscribe and like and comment and share and link, and then be like, We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so subscribe.
Yes.
We
I
definitely
feel
we
weird
definitely
doing
are.
that stuff.
That's good. That's a good goal.
It is. I've noticed that people do that, and I feel weird. Like,
Why?
I'm not a salesman. That's just because that's not who I am. I can't even pitch myself most of the time.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
It's just weird.
And it is weird because it's like, for what? What's our motive, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I mean, I would like for more people to subscribe, but I want you to subscribe because you like it, not because you feel like, we're beating you over the head to subscribe. And as a matter of fact, most people that do that to me, I don't. So that's not a good sign. But I am Gen X, so I do things weird anyway. All right.
Yeah.
So with that said, anything else? All right, we're going to sign off, folks. Thanks, Miss Moyo. Thanks, Miss Jasmine. Again, I'm Chris, Generational Scriptures. We'll see you next time, and we out of here. Deuces.
Bye.